Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the news, and today we are going to be looking at Manchester United's takeover. There's been a big interview with Dan Roan from the BBC, who has sat down with the Saudi Arabian sports minister, who has said that he would definitely support private sector bids for Manchester United or Liverpool now that they are up for sale. You can see the tweet here. Let's get straight into it. Get your thoughts in this in the comments as well. Obviously, there's been a host of potential suitors for Manchester United. We've had talks of American conglomerates or American businesses. We've had talks of Jim Ratcliffe. It seems to be the one that Man United fans are clamouring for at the moment. There's also been this talk of investment from different parts of the Middle East. We've heard rumours of Dubai, now Saudi Arabia. Like I said there, the sports minister is sort of throwing his hat in the ring as well a little bit, saying that he'd definitely support private sector bids. You can see the interview there. Make sure you check that out on Dan Roan's Twitter if you want to see the full thing. But we've got the article there as well, where it says Saudi state would support Man United and Liverpool bids. It's an interesting phrase and terminology where it talks about private sector bids, because if we can scroll down on this a little bit, you can see there that the owners of both Premier League clubs are currently exploring sales. Newcastle already has Saudi Arabian owners after a takeover backed by the Saudi Public Investment Fund was completed in 2021. Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Faisal said there's a lot of interest and appetite in United and Liverpool, which is unsurprising really when you think, if there were people who are up for buying Newcastle, you would assume that people would be up for buying Manchester United. He said, from the private sector, I can't speak on their behalf, but there's a lot of interest and appetite, and there's a lot of passion for football. It's the most watched league in Saudi and the region, and you have a lot of fans of the Premier League. Now, the interesting thing here is, obviously, there's two sort of separate types of investment. There's what we saw at Newcastle, which is the Public Investment Fund, which is a very sort of thinly veiled way of putting the Saudis' government and royal family money into investments. It's, technically it isn't them, but also, when you look at the major stakeholders and the people who are putting a lot of the money into that investment fund, it is essentially the Saudi government, which we all know. So yes, there's talk of private investment. That doesn't necessarily mean that private investment wouldn't be money from the government in investment funds, then through to Manchester United. So, it's very much who knows what that means exactly. All we know is the Saudi sports minister says that the government would definitely support private sector bids for Manchester United, and it seems as though he thinks that the appetite is there for that as well. Let me know what you think to this, because it seems to be a long-standing thing of Man United don't really, or United fans that I've spoken to, a lot of United fans don't seem particularly keen on the idea of having investment from governments or through sort of a potential kind of PR exercises in order to improve the PR of countries or governments or royal families across the world, and this potentially could fall under that umbrella. Obviously, private citizens of Saudi Arabia buying the club might have a slightly different feel to it, but again, it's difficult to discern what exactly private investment means when supposedly the people who bought Newcastle were private investors, and again, you look at who is actually making up the majority of the Saudi Public Investment Fund. It isn't private investors, it's the government and the ruling people of Saudi Arabia. So it's very hard to know exactly what that means. All we know is you can add Saudi Arabian investors to the current list of Jim Ratcliffe, to American investors, and to investors from Dubai as well. So there's a lot of potential interest in Manchester United. And there was rumours as well, he says there about he would support bids for Man United and Liverpool. There were rumours yesterday that this timing of United's announcement is probably more to do with the fact that Liverpool announced they were for sale 2 weeks ago than Ronaldo coming out or anything other, other sort of factors that you may seem to be leading to United being up for sale. Apparently, they don't want all the best investors, or basically the richest people, to use their money on buying Liverpool and then not be interested in Man United. That was the reports that came out. The Glazers saw Liverpool for sale and thought, shit, we might lose the best option here. We're going to be up for sale as well and try and beat Liverpool to some of those bids. So that is an interesting point that's worth mentioning. Obviously, we're going to talk about Ronaldo in a second, but I don't think his interview had much or any effect on their decision to sell the club. Maybe it changed the timing slightly, but like I said, it seemed as though that Liverpool being up for sale had more of an effect on that than anything Ronaldo did. like, give me your thoughts in the comments, because like I said, this is very much a, obviously this is the sports minister, and therefore a reputable source. He's someone that he obviously knows the landscape of the private sector. He knows the landscape of who would be willing to have a look at Manchester United. So yeah, he said, we'll definitely support it. Private sector comes in because we know it's going to reflect positively on sports within the kingdom. But if there's an investor willing to do so and the numbers add up, why not? So yeah. That's from Prince Abdulaziz there in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and one that's obviously worth keeping an eye on. Basically, all we know for certain at the moment is there are investors across the world that want to buy Manchester United, even for that potential and rumoured fee of around £5 billion, which is obviously a staggering number right there. Let's move on to Cristiano Ronaldo then. And this is two sort of rumours, or one rumour that has kind of come together partly through that interview and partly through external sources as well. And this is that Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal exploring a deal to sign former Manchester United forward. Now, obviously, he don't play for Manchester United, but the future of Cristiano Ronaldo is something that has obviously been a massive talking point for Manchester United, for Man United fans. He's a Manchester United legend. He left Man United 2 days ago. So I still think that this is of interest, certainly of interest to me anyway, especially when you see that the bid that was played in the summer, the bid that was placed in the summer from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia was around £305 million. Now, it said that they're exploring a deal to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's a free agent after his Man United contract was mutually terminated this week, in the wake of the interview where he criticised the owners and Erik ten Hag. He's currently playing in Portugal. Yeah. But here's the thing. United received an offer for Ronaldo from Saudi Arabia in the summer and were willing to accept the bid, only for the deal to eventually fall through. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know United were willing to accept the bid. I thought that United and Ronaldo would turn that bid down. Apparently, it says there in that interview with Piers Morgan, Ronaldo said that he rejected the move, which was worth around £300 million. We've then seen, again in this interview with Dan Rohn, Prince Abdulaziz, again saying there, who wouldn't want to play in their league? He's a role model to a lot of youngsters, him and Messi. And apparently he would, again, it sounds as though that deal is potentially on the cards. I mean, you would assume Ronaldo would want to join a Champions League club. I wonder if the interest just hasn't been there. I don't quite understand that, because to me, Ronaldo is a man that cares about records. And no offense to the Saudi Arabian League, but I don't think many people, if Ronaldo were to clock up 100 goals in the Saudi Arabian League over the next 3 seasons, I don't think many people would hold those goals in the same regard as if he did that at Sporting Lisbon, or if he did that, in the Dutch league or the Italian league, even the sort of the Spanish league, not the Spanish league, sorry, the Portuguese league. I don't think. People would take that seriously. People would say, okay, look at this guy, scored 1,000 goals. If your last 100 goals are in the Saudi Arabian League, a lot of people will say, well, they got 800 odd goals in Europe, and then, what counts after that? So I think for Ronaldo's own sort of record-breaking mindset, he's not going to accept, and he's not going to go, to me, to the Saudi Arabian League for a payday. I can't imagine him doing that. If he did, I would be very surprised. But give me your thoughts on that. Do you care where he goes? Do you want him as far away from Manchester United as possible? Get him out of the Champions League, get him out of the Europa League. We'll see you another time. Or do you want to see Ronaldo, get 1,000 goals, break those records that he's chasing all the time, extend his European Cup record? Let me know what you think. But yeah, it's a couple of big stories there. Manchester United are in the eyes of Saudi private investors. Obviously, Jim Ratcliffe is on that list, American investors on that list as well. So there is a lot to take in here for Manchester United fans. I think what we need to expect and what we need to understand is, over the next few weeks and few months, there is going to be a sort of innumerate number of investors and potential people that want to buy Manchester United. It'll seem like it's going to be this person, then it'll be this person, then it'll be this person. We've just got to ride the wave. So let's add them to the list. So we've got American investors, Jim Ratcliffe, other potential consortiums, and now we've got the Saudi private investors on that list as well, of people who may well buy Manchester United. Give me your thoughts on who you would like to buy Manchester United in the comments. We didn't even get to mention the fact that Bruno was brilliant for Portugal and Casemiro was brilliant for Brazil yesterday. So United players are taking over at the World Cup. United are getting taken over during the World Cup, and Cristiano Ronaldo looks like he could be moving to Saudi Arabia. That is the news from us this morning. Hit the like button if you haven't already, as you can see there, and hit subscribe as well. We are covering the World Cup. We are covering Manchester United. We'll be back for watch-alongs for Manchester United later in the month. We've also got an England watch-along tonight, England versus USA. Make sure you check that out here on Stretford Paddock. Thank you very much for joining me this morning, and we'll see you in a bit.